Shalom, welcome. I'm Ronald, and I love digging into the Bible. I create videos where I discuss and break down one or two chapters at a time. Whether you're just starting out or you've been reading the Bible for years, I hope you'll join me and hopefully learn something new or in a new light. And you have a role to play. If you'd like to help others find the Word of God, like, share, and comment. Your comments help others decide if they'd like to watch. So basically, you're helping people around the world connect with God. So if you have a minute, please leave a comment and give a thumbs up, and let's dig in. Hello, let's open our Bibles to Numbers chapters 12 and 13. So we've finished most of the law in Numbers, and we'll be getting into some juicy narrative sections now. A funny story to start. When I mentioned in chapters 10 the trumpet and their different sounds meaning different orders, it reminded me of when I was a kid and we lived in the country, and our telephone was part of a party line. Does anybody remember that? So when the phone rang, it would ring different rings depending on which house the call was for. Ours was 2 rings. I can't remember long or short, but now, Numbers chapter 12 details the incident where Miriam and Aaron speak against Moses and challenge his authority. Now, you'll remember Miriam and Aaron are Moses' siblings. Miriam is the eldest, followed by Aaron, and Moses is the youngest of the 3. But God intervenes, defending Moses, and we'll soon read what God does with them. This shows us the importance of respecting God's chosen leader, the consequences of challenging divine authority, and the need for humility. Verses 1 to 3, Miriam and Aaron speak against Moses' wife because of the Cushite woman he married. Now, a principle later stated by Jesus that it is not unusual for a prophet to find no honor among his people, Matthew 13:59. They also question Moses' unique prophetic role, asking if the Lord had spoken only through him. Now, it emphasizes that Moses was humble, unlike his siblings. On the contrary, his accusers were the ones with the pride problem. Verses 4 to 9, the Lord hears their complaint and summons Moses, Aaron, and Miriam to the tent of meeting. The Lord descends in a pillar of cloud and defends Moses, emphasizing his unique relationship with him. God then rebukes Aaron and Miriam for not being afraid to speak against their servant Moses. In verses 10 to 13, when the cloud departs, Miriam is struck with leprosy. Aaron then pleads with Moses to intercede with the Lord for Miriam, and Moses cries out to the Lord to heal her. Now, notice verse 4 begins with the word suddenly. There was no long delay. Many of God's judgments are long in coming, at least from a human perspective. But on occasion, God brings his justice suddenly, and he did in this case. Verses 14 to 16, the Lord instructs Miriam to be confined outside of the camp for 7 days, and it says that the camp did not move until Miriam was brought back, and then the people moved on. Aaron appears to be easily influenced, doesn't he? When the people of Israel wanted an idol, he was persuaded to provide it in Exodus 32, 1 to 6. Here, he was influenced by his sister, who seemed to be the greater troublemaker, because she was first named and struck with the leprosy. Now, Aaron was quickly influenced back to a humble submission before Moses. Numbers 12 is a powerful reminder of respecting God's chosen leaders. It demonstrates the serious consequences of challenging divine authority and highlights the virtues of humility, which Moses exemplified. It also shows God's mercy in allowing Miriam to be healed after a period of punishment. Also, a great highlight is that many people believe that sin doesn't affect anybody else. But here we see that they were all held back for a week as they had to wait for Miriam to be healed. God's mercy was on display here, but there were also consequences. Next, chapter 13 describes the scouting expedition Moses sent to explore the land of Canaan. It details the instructions given to the men, their journey, their findings, and their report to Moses and the Israelites. Now, verses 1 to 3, the Lord instructs Moses to send men to spy out the land of Canaan, which he has given to the Israelites. According to the Lord's command, Moses sends them from the wilderness of Paran. Now, verses 4 to 16, Moses selects one leader from each of the 12 tribes to undertake the scouting mission. The names of the leaders are listed, providing a record for those who participate. Now, one man was chosen from each tribe to represent the entire community of Israel. Then in verse 17 to 20, Moses instructed the men to observe the land, people, cities, and the soil fertility. He tells them to bring back samples of the fruit of the land. In verses 21 to 25, the men explore the land from the wilderness of Zin to Rehob, near Lebo Hamath. They come to the valley of Eshcahol and cut down a branch with a single cluster of grapes, which they carry on a pole between two men. They also bring back pomegranates and figs. Now they're returning after having been away for 40 days. It was a 20-day journey in each direction. Verses 26 to 29, they return to Moses, Aaron, and the entire assembly of the Israelites in Kadesh, in the wilderness of Paran, and they present their findings and display the fruit of the land. Now they report that the land is abundant with milk and honey, but the inhabitants are powerful and that the cities are secured. In the last few chapters, 30 to 33, Caleb encourages the people, urging them to go up and take possession of the land. Significantly, the two groups of men who could see the same thing, the same grapes, the same Canaanites, the same land, and the same cities, but one group, Caleb and Joshua, came away strong in faith, and the other 10 spies had a sense of inevitable doom. Ultimately, belief or unbelief is not rooted in circumstances or environment. Faith is rooted in the heart that trusts God and His promises. They describe the inhabitants as giants and say that the Israelites seem like grasshoppers in their sight. Now, this chapter contrasts the perspective of faith and fear. It demonstrates the importance of trusting God's promises, even facing daunting challenges. The chapter also serves as a cautionary tale, illustrating the consequences of allowing fear and doubt to undermine faith and obedience. I'm going to leave it here for today. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to the next one, and may God bless you all.